This is the XRP 1 month overview reading for the month of April 2024. It's currently March 6, 2024, 2:39 p.m. Eastern Time. XRP at the time of this reading is 0.6131, just over 61 cents USD. And the shuffle video for the April 1 month reading for XRP was created on February 2nd, 2024 at 8:44 p.m. Eastern Time. That's this video here in the lower left corner. The overall theme and behavior for XRP in April, we have a failed attempt to break through key resistance followed by a decline through key support. It's crossed with a pop and drop that'll stand out on like a 1 month scale. Behavior around the highest side, we have a rally along a diagonal trend line that ends with a fast sudden move higher, taking us into the high side, and then we break down through that diagonal trend line with increasing volatility on the way down. Behavior around the lowest low, off of a near overbought crest, we should see a sell-off through multiple support levels into the low. What's interesting is that we have a strong cross-reading congruency here with the 2023 card, or excuse me, with the 2024 card of the 10-year, and we have a high correlation here as well. My sense is that there's we go from an important low into a significant high. I think the high is probably on the cusp of April, May, or maybe even in early in May or something like that. Hard to say, but it's likely that we're pushing the upper end of a range higher on a multi-year scale. And my sense is that we probably come up to these price levels in 2024. But that remains to be seen. Now, before I go any further and get into the day-by-day chart behavior, as well as the timing of the highest highs and the lowest lows to the day, I just want to make sure everybody's aware. The whole purpose of the channel is to transmute some of the competitive energy of the stock market into goodwill. We do that by following the rule of karma for the channel. You go to the resources tab of our website, Tarot for Traders, and 5% of the profits from every profitable trade utilizing this information should be donated forward to one of these charities, or pick a charity of your choosing, as long as you're paying 5% forward, and then 5% should be sent back to the channel through one of these links. If you're international, you can use Wise or you can use YouTube Tips. And that leaves you at 90%. Make sure to spend that 90% out of love. As long as you follow those rules, you follow the rule of karma for the channel, the universe considers you an angel investor. It's going to send it back to you tenfold for following through. Blessings to all my angel investors. Let's get back into it. Now remember, it's important to understand not each card's energy necessarily will line up perfectly with 24 hours of time. So while most readings are going to be on point to the day as far as accuracy, there will be cases where we're plus or minus off a day here or there just because the energy doesn't necessarily line up perfectly with 1 day of time. In cases where that happens, remember to follow the sequence of events as outlined by the prediction, because that will remain accurate and you can remain on track by following that. That's really how you should follow SO Meta, is by the sequence of events. On the first, we have an important trade opportunity. Looks like there's a day trade opportunity there on the first. We also have a cross-reading congruency. The April high card of the 1 year is the Magus card. We have it here. So my sense is that we have at least the highest high here, a pretty big move. Oh, interesting. So the day trade here is, I think, a short trade. You can either do a day trade or an overnight swing. So in the midst of a rally on a 1 day chart there, matter of fact, I'll talk about that in more detail in the paid version, where I get into what to look for as far as chart behavior for entry and exit into those trades, and the timing of those trades, as well as price behavior or price levels and all that. On the second, we have a period of volatility. So it looks like we turned over. We go from a move higher to a sharp drop on the first, and then on the second we go lower in a period of volatility. There's a sharp drop that stands out in that period of volatility, but then out of the decline on the third, we have a notable move to the upside, taking us to a prominent peak somewhere right around the cusp of the third, fourth. That's most likely the same high as the first, or it's a higher one. From that high around the cusp of the third, fourth, we have a sideways fluctuating decline into sideways rotation along a key support, where we attempt to establish support on the fifth. Very possibly another high there. It could be this. It's possible that we see the high there on the third, fourth, or we see it on the fifth, or both. It's right around there. It's hard to pinpoint the exact day there, because for the month we also have some important lows. Right, this is the lowest low here. Here again around the 5th, 6th is the lowest low, and we successfully turned. There's a pop and drop on the 6th. We successfully turned resistance into support, at least momentarily. A move higher continues on the 7th. Early in the day, there's a peak, a prominent peak on a 1 month scale. I'm advised not to chase that rally into the peak. By the 8th, we're declining through multiple support levels. Decline continues on the 9th. There's a failed attempt to break through key resistance on the 9th on a multi-day scale, followed by a decline through key support. That decline continues, increasing with momentum moving forward into a trough at the end of the day on the 9th, or early in the day on the 10th. On the 10th, we have 3 pokes through the same price level, followed by a sharp drop off of that third poke. There's probably a little bit of okay, so the decline from the 8th continues into the 9th. We have the trough at the end of the day on the 9th, and then we rally into a failed attempt to break through key resistance somewhere towards the end of the day on the 9th, or on the 10th, where we have those 3 pokes through the same price level, followed by a sharp drop. On the 11th, we have the prudence card, multiple false tops or bottoms, some sort of tricky whipsaw behavior. The prudence card indicates you want to be very careful not to do something impulsive or make the wrong decision here based on chart behavior. There's a trade opportunity there as well. We'll talk about it in more detail in the paid version. And then there's a notable reversal, a peak and a notable reversal on the 12th. On the 13th, an important resistance level highlighted, and this is a cross-reading congruency with the high card from the 2024 reading. Also a high indication of a highest high here, at least thus far around the end of the month. So I think probably we see a highest high here. We probably rally into this high, 12th, 13th, and then we start to decline, failed attempt to break through resistance there, right? But on the 14th, so on the 13th, there's a lot of price change from that resistance level to and from that resistance level. Usually you can trade both directions, utilizing that resistance level when you see the Princess of Swords as an entry and an exit for 2 separate trades. On the 14th, sideways rotation and a pop and drop. On the 15th, an important support level that's highlighted on a multi-year scale. Matter of fact, before we go any further, let's take a look at February's reading and see how we did. We did get a really significant low on the 25th. Looks like we were off a day there. We also had it on the 23rd. The 23rd, I advised in the paid version, I advised to open up a long position, which you could close on the 24th, the 25th, possibly the 27th. Let's see. 23rd open, and you might have added to it on the 25th as well. So 23rd we open. You could have closed it on the 24th for a profit. You could have closed it on the 25th for a profit. There was also a sharp drop, so you could have picked up more as well on the 26th in the midst of that trough. And then we have this big move to the upside here on the 27th, which really I think that's probably the gain card there. That looks like the gain card to me. But at the very end of the month, we have these big moves to the upside. And this right here indicated a high. For some reason, I missed that. Not my best reading. Overall trend direction was definitely reverse of what it should have been. But that trade, that main trade there at the end of the month would have worked. If you opened up a long position on the 4th, 5th, so on the 4th probably would have been the best bet to do it. You could have closed it on the 5th. That trade's still solid. And we also had a lowest low there on the 2nd and a lowest low there on the 5th. We have a lowest low here on the 1st. We have a lowest low here on the 5th. So we nailed those lowest lows. This didn't end up being a lowest low. It ended up being a significant trough, but not a lowest low. Although it did come, I mean, comparatively speaking, it did come pretty close. Also, we had this lowest low at the end of the month, and we did have this sharp drop almost to another lowest low there at the very end of the month. That's what really threw me off, is that there was lowest lows in there along with the highest highs. Really, this was a really tough reading. This was a really tough reading. So overall, this is probably one of my worst readings in a really long time. And even with that said, the trades for the most part would have been very profitable. If you opened up a short on the 11th, you would have been able to close the short on the 12th for a profit. We have a high here on the highest high on the 14th. Looks like we have a high side thus far on the 15th. So not awful, and the trades were still pretty solid. I got the overall trend direction wrong. I think probably what happens is these are the three pokes up here. Sometimes the theme cards get blended a little bit into each other, you know. Not each card's energy lines up perfectly with the same period of time every time, you know, so there needs to be a little wiggle room. But with that said, if you're interested in a paid version, guys, for the most part, we're doing like 98% average accuracy. You can see this is an example of where we didn't do so hot. Trades still worked out pretty well. And if you got on our live streams, you would have been fine, most likely, based on what we tell you, advise in the live streams. The best way to get the paid version, go to our services, that's Meta posts. For XRP, you click on the XRP, it's $249 a month, and for the paid version of that, this is literally the only place in the world where you can get this information. Nobody else has this information. Nobody else even comes close to this detail or this accuracy. I mean, the XRP February reading, guys, to give you an idea, it's created December 5th, 2023 at 4:09 p.m. I mean, that's saying something. You go to our website, tarotfortraders.com, hover over our services, click on Meta posts, either subscribe for the XRP, or if you're interested in all of the tickers that we'll be covering, which will be different than this list here by the time you see this video. If you're interested in all the monthly paid versions of all the tickers that you see, plus like individual one-offs that people may have ordered, like custom 1 month, you would get the paid version of those as well. You do that by getting the all paid. Highly recommend. It's only twice the price of a singular, and you're getting all that information. Super valuable. Can't find it anywhere else. And I definitely know the names of everybody who does that. This is a really great way to get my attention, my friends. Thank you to everybody that goes and does that. Blessings to all my angel investors. You know where to go. You know what to do. Let's get back into it. Okay, so on the 16th, it looks like we have this trade opportunity where we rally into key resistance on a multi-day scale, and then we decline with consecutively lower spikes up on the way down. There's probably a prominent peak there on the 16th, and the decline continues into the 17th through multiple support levels. Probably revisit that peak on the 18th in a period of erratic behavior back and forth through the same price level. There's a pretty notable move to the upside towards the end of the day on the 18th, and we're bumping along resistance sideways on the 19th. We might break through, bump along resistance some more, maybe break through again, bump along resistance some more. I mean, really, the majority of the behavior for the Valor card is bumping along resistance, and at some point after bumping along resistance here, we should decline into the 20th to see an important low. This is very likely where the lowest low for the month is, right here around the 20th, 21st, 22nd, maybe even the 23rd, but for Bitcoin, we've got the 20th and the 21st, and it's a multi-month buy opportunity. So my sense is that this is probably the low here, like the lowest low for XRP around the 20th. And that decline on the 20th ends with a fast sudden move higher. By the 21st, we have a period of volatility, and that volatility ends with a fast sudden move higher again, taking us to a peak around the cusp of the 21st, 22nd. There's a sharp drop midday on the 22nd, and we do some sideways rotation along key support, and revisiting a support level that we recently met once before, probably the low from the 20th, which is why I say we'll probably see it again here on the 22nd, 23rd. Significant trade opportunity here around the cusp of the 22nd, 23rd, and that unicursal indicating a really sharp drop somewhere between the 22nd and the 23rd that would offer opportunity to open up, I think, probably a long position for a multi-month swing trade. I mean, I'll get into that in more detail, but you don't want to miss out on this Aeon card move, which is pushing the upper end of a range higher and possibly even pushing it higher on a multi-year scale. It could be pushing this. It could be pushing this. I don't think we push past this, but it could be pushing one of these, you know? I'll get into that in more detail in the paid version. So on the 24th, we have sideways rotation along key support and a big move to the upside. Some like flat behavior sideways along a key resistance level on a multi-day scale on the 25th. That flat sideways behavior turns into sideways mixed behavior, crisscrossing back and forth through the same price level on the 23rd. The third cross to the upside confirming a bullish trend, and by the end of the three crisscrosses back and forth through the same price level on the 26th. That third cross to the upside confirming a bullish trend, and we have this huge move to the upside towards the end of the day on the 26th, taking us to an important price level on like at least a 1 month scale, and a trade opportunity. We bump along resistance sideways on the 27th. That's where we have a resistance highlighted that we failed to break through many times before. And then on the 28th, we have a rally that increases with momentum moving forward in time. There's a trade opportunity on the 27th, 28th, and 29th. That rally increases into the early part of the 29th, where we have this big move to a peak, and then we decline by the end of the day or midday on the 29th to revisit an important trough midday, followed by another peak on the cusp of the 29th, 30th, or on the 30th. Then it'll be a prominent peak, not a crest, the peak in this case, and we'll sell off from it pretty notably. And then the sneak preview for May, I think we probably see the high here, the year's high here in April. And that's what this failed attempt to break through key resistance is. It's going to look like we're going higher, but we don't. And then the death card indicates that we see a lower price level, probably a bottom on like a 1 year chart scale. And we do have indications of that taking place in May as well. That's XRP for April 2024. Please subscribe if you haven't done so. It really helps out the channel. Most importantly, make sure to follow that rule of karma. You know where to go. You know what to do. Blessings to all my angel investors. Stay tuned if you got the paid version. We're going to get into the best trades that we see and the timing of those, as well as the entry and the exit chart behavior to look for in just a moment.